When my father started forgetting things at 72, we all brushed it off as normal aging. Keys misplaced. Appointments missed. Names that suddenly escaped him. But when he couldn't remember how to get to the grocery store he'd been visiting for 30 years. That's when fear crept in. What I didn't know then, what none of us realized, was that his cognitive decline might have started decades earlier. Not in his brain, but in his gut. I'm Dr. Sarah Jensen, and after watching my father's battle with dementia, I've spent the last 15 years researching what might be the most overlooked connection in cognitive health: the relationship between your digestive system and your brain function. What I've discovered might change everything you thought you knew about protecting your mind as you age. You know, we've been taught to think of our bodies as separate systems working independently. The digestive system handles food. The nervous system manages thoughts. The immune system fights invaders. But that's not how our bodies actually work. What scientists have discovered in recent years is nothing short of revolutionary. Your gut and brain are in constant communication through what researchers call the gut-brain axis, A2A. Highway of neural, immune, and hormonal signals traveling back and forth every second of every day. I remember sitting in a medical conference in 2016 when a gastroenterologist showed brain scans before and after treating severe digestive disorders. The cognitive improvements were stunning. That was my first real glimpse into how profoundly our digestive health influences our thinking. Here's something fascinating. Your gut contains more than 100 million nerve cells. That's more than in your spinal cord. This network is so complex that scientists call it your second brain, and it's not just passively digesting food. It's actively sending messages that affect your mood, your memory, and yes, potentially your risk for dementia. When my father was diagnosed, his neurologist never once asked about his digestive health. Not once. Today, that would be considered a significant oversight. Let's talk about the trillions of microscopic creatures living in your digestive tract right now. Your gut microbiome, that community of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms, isn't just along for the ride. These tiny passengers produce neurotransmitters that directly impact brain function. Did you know that about 95% of your body's serotonin, the feel-good chemical, is produced in your gut, not your brain? Or that certain gut bacteria produce a neurotransmitter called GABA that helps calm anxiety. When the balance of your microbiome gets disrupted, what scientists call dysbiosis, it doesn't just cause digestive discomfort. It can trigger inflammation that spreads throughout your body, including to your brain. I saw this firsthand with my father. For decades, he suffered from what doctors dismissed as nervous stomach, constant bloating, irregular bowel habits, heartburn that no antacid could fully tame. Looking back, these weren't just annoying digestive issues. They were early warning signs of an imbalance that may have contributed to his cognitive decline. Recent studies from institutions like Harvard and the Cleveland Clinic have found that people with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia often show distinct patterns in their gut bacteria compared to people with healthy cognition. Even more compelling, some of these microbiome changes appear years before the first cognitive symptoms emerge. Just let that sink in for a moment. The bacteria in your gut today might be influencing your brain health a decade from now. If there's one word that keeps appearing in research about both gut health and dementia, it's inflammation. Chronic inflammation is like a slow-burning fire in your body. When your gut lining becomes compromised, what's sometimes called leaky gut. It allows substances that should stay in your digestive tract to escape into your bloodstream. Your immune system responds by triggering inflammation, which can eventually reach your brain. I remember visiting my father in the memory care facility and noticing how many residents had similar health histories: digestive problems, autoimmune conditions, chronic inflammatory issues. The connection seemed obvious to me, but it wasn't part of their treatment plans. The research is becoming clearer. Neuroinflammation plays a crucial role in cognitive decline. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that people with higher levels of inflammatory markers had greater cognitive decline over a 5-year period than those with lower inflammation levels. What's particularly interesting is that many anti-inflammatory compounds that protect brain health are produced by, you guessed it, healthy gut bacteria. When your microbiome is balanced, these bacteria create short-chain fatty acids like butyrate that strengthen your gut lining and reduce inflammation throughout your body, including your brain. You've probably heard the phrase, "You are what you eat," but more accurately, you are what you digest and absorb. The typical Western diet, high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats, has been linked to both poor gut health and increased dementia risk. On the flip side, diets like the Mediterranean and Mind diets, rich in fiber, omega-3s, and plant compounds, are associated with better cognitive outcomes. This isn't just about calories or even nutrients. It's about how different foods affect your microbiome. My father grew up in an era when convenience foods were celebrated as modern miracles. TV dinners, processed meats, sugary cereals. No one told him these foods might be starving his beneficial gut bacteria while feeding the harmful ones. Fiber is particularly important here. It's what nutritionists call prebiotic, meaning it feeds beneficial bacteria. Most Americans get less than half the recommended amount of fiber daily. And as we age, our digestive enzymes naturally decrease, making nutrient absorption even more challenging. In a groundbreaking study from Rush University, researchers found that people who strictly followed the Mind diet developed specifically to support brain health reduced their Alzheimer's risk by up to 53%. When they looked closer at why this diet was so effective, gut microbiome changes were a significant factor. Here's something that rarely gets discussed. Many common medications can disrupt your gut microbiome, potentially affecting your brain health over time. Antibiotics are the most obvious example. While sometimes necessary, they're like dropping a bomb on your microbiome, killing beneficial bacteria along with harmful ones. Studies show that even a single course of antibiotics can alter your gut bacteria for up to a year. But other medications matter too. Proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux reduce stomach acid that's needed for proper digestion. Many pain relievers irritate the gut lining. Even some diabetes medications alter gut bacteria composition. I'm not suggesting anyone stop their prescribed medications. That could be dangerous. But I am suggesting we need more awareness about these effects. My father took acid reducers daily for over 20 years. No doctor ever mentioned how this might affect his nutrient absorption or gut bacteria. No one suggested alternatives or supplemental strategies to support his digestive health. While on these medications, a 2018 study in the journal Neurology found that people who regularly used certain anticholinergic medications, including some common over-the-counter sleep aids and allergy medications, had an increased risk of dementia. The researchers suggested that gut microbiome changes might be one mechanism behind this association. When we talk about gut health, we can't ignore the profound impact of stress and sleep patterns. Have you ever had butterflies in your stomach before a stressful event? Or an upset stomach during a difficult time? That's your gut-brain connection in action. Chronic stress doesn't just make you feel anxious, it actually changes your gut bacteria composition and increases intestinal permeability. This creates a vicious cycle. Stress harms your gut, which then sends signals that increase stress and anxiety. And this cycle may be particularly damaging as we age. Sleep disruption works similarly. Poor sleep alters your microbiome, and an unhealthy microbiome can make it harder to sleep well. Both poor sleep and gut dysbiosis are independently linked to increased dementia risk. I watched my father struggle with insomnia for years before his diagnosis. His doctor prescribed sleeping pills. Without addressing the underlying causes, or considering how chronic sleep disruption might be affecting his brain health through gut-related pathways. Recent research from the University of Wisconsin found that just one night of disrupted sleep increased inflammatory markers and negatively affected the gut microbiome. For older adults who already experience more fragmented sleep, this represents an important modifiable risk factor. So what can we actually do with this information? How can we use our understanding of the gut-brain connection to protect our cognitive health? First, we need to acknowledge that this is still an emerging field. We don't have all the answers, but we do have enough evidence to take some meaningful steps. If you're concerned about your cognitive health, consider comprehensive digestive assessment. This might include testing for food sensitivities that could be causing chronic inflammation, microbiome composition analysis, markers of intestinal permeability, digestive enzyme levels, inflammatory markers, nutrient absorption status. I wish we'd had these tests available when my father first started showing digestive symptoms decades before his dementia diagnosis. When it comes to interventions, the research suggests several promising approaches. Dietary changes are foundational. Increasing fiber from diverse plant sources. Incorporating fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, and sauerkraut. Reducing processed foods and sugar. Adding omega-3 rich foods like fatty fish. These changes support a healthy microbiome and reduce inflammation. For some people, targeted probiotic therapy may help. Not all probiotics are created equal, and the research on specific strains for brain health is still developing. But certain combinations, particularly those containing lactobacillus and bifidobacterium species, have shown promise for cognitive function. Addressing stress through mindfulness practices, exercise, and social connection also supports both gut and brain health. Even simple breathing exercises can activate your vagus nerve, a key component of the gut-brain axis. Improving sleep quality through consistent sleep schedules, evening routines, and addressing sleep disorders can break the negative cycle between poor sleep and gut dysbiosis. And finally, working with healthcare providers who understand these connections is crucial. Functional medicine practitioners, integrative neurologists, and dietitians specializing in gut health can offer personalized approaches. As I reflect on my father's journey, I'm filled with both regret and hope. Regret that we didn't know then what we know now about the gut-brain connection. But hope that this information might help others protect their cognitive health before symptoms appear. The science is clear. Your gut health today influences your brain health tomorrow. And unlike our genetics, this is something we can actually modify. I often wonder how different my father's later years might have been if someone had connected the dots between his digestive symptoms and his brain health decades earlier. If someone had explained that the bloating, the reflux, the irregular bowel habits weren't just annoying inconveniences, but potential warning signs of a system out of balance. But I can't change his story. I can only share what I've learned in hopes that it might change yours. If you're watching this, you've already taken the first step, becoming aware of this crucial connection. The next step is to take action. That might mean adjusting your diet, managing stress differently, or talking to your healthcare provider about comprehensive digestive assessment. Remember, cognitive decline isn't an inevitable part of aging. And even small changes to support your gut health can have meaningful impacts on your brain function over time. I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions in the comments below. Has this information changed how you think about your digestive health? Do you have experiences connecting gut and brain function that you'd like to share? If you found this information valuable, please subscribe to our channel for more evidence-based content on protecting your brain health as you age. And don't forget to check out our free guide on gut-friendly recipes designed specifically for cognitive support. The link is in the description below. Your journey to better brain health might just start in your gut. And it's never too early or too late to begin. Until next time, this is Dr. Sarah Jensen from Brain Games Plus, wishing you health in both your gut and your brain.